The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
So it's Brian Kenzie on Q101, and very, very stoked to welcome Chino Moreno and Shaun Lopez to the show from the band Crosses. Welcome in, guys. So happy to talk to you today.
Awesome, man. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Where are you guys at right now? Like, what's the preparation for the album coming out Friday? And I assume some live stuff getting worked on, which you haven't been, performed live in about a decade at this point with Crosses. So where are you at right now with the process of can't wait to get the whole record out? And are you thinking about the tour that we don't know about yet and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, pretty much all that. I mean, we're in prep mode right now. We're both in Los Angeles every day, sort of like, getting together. And, we're actually right now we're working on some visualizer stuff for, once the album drops, kind of get that stuff out there and filming some videos and rehearsing for these dates we have next month. And then, yes, we are planning to release some news on some dates for, coming up after that. So, yeah, just been pretty much doing a lot of prep, but excited for sure.
Is there any fear when you guys haven't performed live, together on stage in 9 years? Is there any, I know people might talk about, with athletes, might talk about rust or in that situation, or a vibe you have going on and there's new music you can't wait to play for everybody. What does that kind of take when you're getting ready to go on the road?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a little nerve wracking, until we get in there and do it. You know what I mean? We kind of just, try to just be optimistic about it. I think it's going to be great though. I mean, we've kept busy with, other projects as well. So I feel like we're not too rusty. We're still got our heads in the game.
Now, do you guys feel like you're just the kind of people that have to have more projects going on at once? Because I feel like you do have your hands in so many things. Is that like what keeps you going, is having that much going on? Do you need to?
I think so. I mean, and not just projects, but just keeping busy in general. You know what I mean? I like, at the end of the day, to sleep good, I have to feel like I accomplished something. You know what I mean? But working on stuff, and definitely the feeling you get after you finish something, especially like with this album, this batch of songs, I feel like we released the EP not even a year ago. So coming out of that and putting out a full length album with 15 songs is sort of like a little bit of overachievement, I guess, which, makes you feel good. And it's a good way to be creative from, when you don't feel the pressure and you feel like it's not something you have to do, but you want to do.
Oh, absolutely. And you've really kind of talked about more optimism, light in your life during the time period of creating this album, The Goodnight, God Bless, I Love You, Delete. What is that because you're accomplishing so much, or what's going on in your life that's just creating so much optimism that's going into this album?
It's a mixture of stuff. I'm not going to say that, it's all, rainbows and flowers, but it definitely is a transition, and trying to really balance, a lot of stuff. I think I've spoke a lot about this, having balance, and, this is something that you have to work at, and I feel like this, through the 4 years process of making this batch of songs, there's been a lot of ups and downs, but generally sort of like, I feel like it's, sort of kind of got through, some sort of, solve some sort of puzzle in a way, doing this, making this record, and listening back now, in retrospect, I can kind of, listen, and I can kind of hear the journey through, whether it's the lyrics or, even the songs themselves and the moods of the songs, and, how they've, how everything complements each other.
Yeah, I mean, we've been lucky enough to get a little sample, so thank you. It sounds ridiculous, by the way. Sounds amazing. And
okay.
Let me just take one song, like Invisible Hand. Like, take us through, like, that song, the process of, do you guys, because the grooves are amazing and the music is amazing, do you come up with a concept in your head lyrically first, or is it the music first? You make something and say, I know what I can put with that, this kind of poetry or whatever I end up coming up with.
Go ahead, Shaun.
Yeah, I mean, that one started kind of with the track. I had found this little sound, that for the, that starts the song off basically, and then just kind of made that the verse I think once I created that big, crazy bass sound, I felt like I was onto something. And then it was about cracking the code to see where it was going to go in the chorus. I think when I showed it to Chino, there was no chorus on it yet. It was just the intro and the verse with the big bass, and he heard that and he was like, "Oh man, this is sick," and then we collectively together we kind of figured out where the chorus should go, and then he kind of went in, started singing stuff, and then lyrics come after that.
This may be a dated reference, but I feel like that song's going to blow a subwoofer in my 2019 Nissan Rogue.
Oh yeah,
it's funny.
It's
funny. I like, when we were sort of, working on it, it already sort of was like this bombastic thing. And I was thinking to myself, like, we're probably going to tame this back at some point, right, Shaun? And because it kind of sounds like it's already blown, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I guess that's kind of what he was going for.
The best compliment I got from that was somebody direct messaged me, and they thought I sampled like the license plate frame of like a car. When a car's really basing out and their license plate frames like rattling.
It goes.
They thought, yeah, it's like boom, boom, and I was like, well, that's. I was like, thank you, man. That's the best.
You're rattling license plates at stoplights with the sub.
Yep. Yep.
See, I missed that. I don't hear that. You don't hear that enough anymore. The subwoofer rattling license plates.
I think you're just in a Nissan Rogue stage of life. I think maybe just you're hearing it less.
Listen, I got a 10-month, 11-month-old baby now, and I got rid of the sub that was in the Chrysler
The
LeBaron.
Wiggles doesn't crank like that? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
It does not hit. It doesn't hit the same as Crosses will.
I have to say, though, with Crosses, people make mistakes, okay? I've read band signs wrong, as we've talked about on the show previously. Has anyone ever assumed you guys were a Christian band?
I think people still probably assume that, whatever. Definitely the logo is kind of deceiving, I guess, in a way. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because I don't think either of us, when we kind of came up with the idea, really thought about it too much, which it seemed like we would have, but I don't know. But no, I mean, we just kind of went with it, you know what I mean? And it's funny, we don't get asked that question a lot either, which is kind of cool. I kind of like leaving it out there, for people to just kind of wonder.
Oh yeah, it's let people figure it out, right? Maybe they hear something in a lyric that hits them, and they can think that way, and it doesn't matter.
Or they can buy a ticket and just be wrong. That's fine. More tickets.
That's right.
Whoever
Get some white hairs. Get some white hairs in the back who think it's going to be like a church revival.
Listen, it's a big market.
Hey,
it is a big market.
Everybody's money is the same. Doesn't matter who shows up.
Built-in audience, man.
Do you guys have either of you, Chino or Shaun? We're talking to Chino Moreno and Shaun Lopez. Crosses. Goodnight, God bless, I love you, delete. Comes out Friday, and it's going to be sick. Like I said, you're going to love it. Is there any specific for either of you, like the Chicago memories when you say Chicago, like something that hits you in the head about a show you did or something you just did here that stands out?
Well, hell yeah. I mean, I remember when Crosses played there. I believe it was the House of Blues, and probably one of my favorite shows of that tour. I mean, it was back in, I think it was 2015 or 16. It was a while ago. But I remember after the show, we actually did a DJ set in one of the, what is that room called?
It's called the Foundation Room.
The Foundation Room, and it was insane. Yeah. Like I don't think we expected it to be what it was. It was almost like doing another show after the show, and just the energy was so good, man. I mean, I love playing there, no matter what project I'm doing, whatever. But definitely Crosses, I felt like got a lot of love there last time we were there, so I'm excited to come back.
No, we're so excited to have you. Any nervous feelings because you're dropping on Friday the 13th?
Ooh.
Is there anything was that discussed?
Besides the band,
not really.
The 13th wasn't discussed either. The logo,
right? Right? No, yeah, not really. I mean, we didn't really, it's not anything we planned. I honestly think that we pushed it back a little bit because we weren't quite ready. So it just happened to land on that date. But yeah.
Well, listen, we can't wait to see you live, and wishing you all the best on obviously the album coming out Friday. Again, Crosses, Goodnight, God bless, I love you, delete. Can you give me a little bit into the title of the album?
It's always hard when you're naming 15 songs and trying to find something that universally sort of like describes what's about to happen. And so this was really an afterthought. It was really, we finished the last song on the record, which ended up being the title track. Some of those lyrics are loosely in that song, which kind of sums up the record to me. So when we were done with all the songs, we I had mentioned maybe using that title as the title of the album. And it just felt like it really kind of encompassed everything. I mean, it's the vibe of the record, I feel like, is, like I was saying earlier, it's kind of like feels like a journey. And and towards the end of the journey, it was just like this phrase that I actually used to say with my family, with my brothers and sisters and my parents every night before we went to sleep. And it kind of just feels like just like the summing up of the day. Good night, God bless, I love you. This is something we used to always say. And through the delete on the end of that, as like it's now it's the end, and started over again. You know what I mean? I feel like it was just kind of was very summing up of the 15 songs that we just heard.
I'm not gonna lie, the delete part sounds kind of ominous.
It does, and I think that's kind of like I love that dichotomy, and I think Crosses is our whole kind of aesthetic. I think sort of is in that balance of what is this? You know what I mean? And I feel like that kind of gives it a little bit of a question at the end, question mark at the end.
Right on. Well, again, Chino, Shaun, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. Crosses.
Thank you.
Good night. God bless. I love you. Delete Friday. It'll be out there for everybody. And to not play in so long, we cannot wait. Maybe the House of Blues, maybe another venue in town, wherever it's going to end up. We'll be there in the front, man.
Right on.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.